We're the Cree people, people of the forest, Nihiwak people, Sagawinawak. The world that we live in, it's like a spider's web. The interconnectedness of all living things. Humans are just a strand of that. The plants, the water, the fish, the birds, we're all a part of that. And the responsibilities we all have to one another. Wahkohtowin.
The Driftpile Cree Nation territory is a vast landscape in north-central Alberta. For thousands of years, the Cree Nation lived off the land and the gifts it provided.
As families, we used to go to the lake at Boggy Slough. Everybody would do the hay there. Then after they were done the hay, they would do the fish. And then they would smoke them there.
The way of life for the Nihiwak people, the people of the forest, has always been interconnected with the health of the nation's two main bodies of water, the Driftpile River and its eventual destination, Lesser Slave Lake. The pickerel, jackfish, and whitefish from the lake have been feeding the people of Driftpile for generations.
At this time of year when jackfish were spawning, you walk along shore like this in the bulrush area, you'd catch a good jackfish, eh? Because my grandfather loved fish. If you were raised by him and if you and him were home alone, it was jackfish for breakfast, dinner, supper. And if you had leftover, you had breakfast with it again.
The nation's families also survived by hunting and trapping. Groups of families would take horse teams into the bush, riding the same trails as their ancestors.
We used to go hunting south of Driftpile for the 4 or 5 days, eh? Then when you kill a moose, the ladies started making dry meat. And the day that we're going to come home, we used to go hunting and kill a moose, and we'd come home with the fresh meat. We used to have a trap line quite a ways from here, just south. So that's where we spend a lot of time. We'd hunt muskrats, eh? We'd be sitting there with a club, eh? You know, it'd take quite a while, maybe just about an hour before one muskrat comes out. As soon as his nose pops out, and then you hit it in the head, eh? And then pull it out. But if you miss it, and then it bites you.
For the suckers over there at the river, too, that was fun. Used to just lay in the water and try to catch them with your hand when you're laying flat in the water, because it was shallow. All you seen was fin.
As time and the landscape changes, those fond memories have evolved into worry for the future.
When I was 14 years old, we used to go hunting. You come to a water place, let your horses drink. You can drink there too. In them years. Now, you don't even look at a creek.
With the aquatic health of their traditional territory in decline, the Driftpile Cree Nation has brought their elders and knowledge keepers together with Western scientists to better understand the issues they're facing throughout the entire watershed.
My name's Ave Dersh. Probably maybe around 15 or more years ago, I started spending more time around Lesser Slave Lake with Driftpile and working with the land users. The Swan Hills is the big height of land with Deer Mountain and House Mountain behind us, and that's been the home to fairly intensive industrial development, probably starting in the 1950s. So there was early oil and gas exploration and forestry at a time where there wasn't very stringent environmental assessments and regulations.
One of the major factors in the decline of the territory's water quality has been clear-cutting. What was once dense forest and prime hunting grounds has been stripped bare into a patchwork of roads and industrial activity, with many consequences along the way.
There was about 7 families that they have their own trap lines. We had 7 houses over there, like cabins. They destroy all them cabins, like right flat. All the trails are all gone. My horses are walking around and I got about 13 head, eh? But I can't use them anymore going out. There's no trails.
Because it's a free flow out there once they're logging, right? There's nothing holding it back. All the trees are gone. If you kill the trees, then the water's going someplace else.
My name is Megan Thompson. I have a PhD in limnology. I'm a scientist specializing in water quality and aquatic ecosystems. I have been working with Driftpile for a couple of years now. The health of the river is very closely linked to its watershed. It's a lot of forestry and oil and gas, lots of roads and a lot of land clearing, pesticides and herbicides that are applied on agricultural land. And then when you get further downstream and closer to the lake, that's where people are living. You can have runoff from urban areas, from your yards. Everything kind of gets carried down into the drain that is the lake.
The community's work with the scientists has focused on the entire watershed. And the work has shown that there is no one single cause of decline in water quality throughout the territory. There are many factors.
In 1981, we had the same cycle as we're having now. We had mega fires. For this lake now, water is getting warmer, fish are getting softer.
Climate change is a big one. If the air temperature is increasing, then the water temperature will also increase. So a lot of the fish that are used to living in this lake are cold or cool water fish. And if the water gets too warm, then they won't do as well. They won't grow as well, and they even may taste a little different or look a little different to people who are eating them.
I know there's other highly industrialized parts of Alberta, but I do think that in Treaty 8, this has quite a long legacy of impacts, and then the layering of impacts from different things causing the cumulative effects.
There's stuff that aren't growing that used to grow plentiful. Now you barely see the stuff. You gotta go for miles to go look for other traditional medicines.
Around here in Driftpile, south of Driftpile, we used to pick lots of medicine. You could go in here in the quad and you're used to pick whatever you want. I go all the way to Jasper to go and get medicine.
And berries were plentiful too. You go into any bush along the lake, they used to pick berries there. Now, there's nothing.
You have to go further to go hunting, and it's getting costly because the gas is up. You have to go further because there's hardly anything here, because like if people go hunting, then maybe you'll get one out of all the people. So you have to go further out. And they're all blocked off. Like you don't even go some parts, hey, what are you doing there? Well, we shot a moose and he's back there. Well, you're not supposed to be here.
Our people have stories, and they share these stories about going into ceremony and understanding that our way of life was going to change. And there was prophecies that took place inside those ceremonies. And they talked about a time when we weren't going to be able to drink out of the lakes, out of the rivers. So what we need to do is we need to think about, what do we want to see ahead? What do we want to see in the future? The answer is in the past.
Let's start south. Do something about our rivers. Start purifying that land. If we slow that down to a minimum where there's less contamination coming through our rivers, let's take care of this place. Let's preserve it. Let's do something about it.
So there are various things you can do to try to protect water in rivers or in lakes. And one of the things that Driftpile will be focusing on is to look at riparian area restoration. Riparian areas are areas of land close to water, and they're very, very important to the health of aquatic ecosystems because they tend to provide physical stability to shoreline. They stop things like erosion and sedimentation. They also can act as a bit of a sponge to catch those things that are coming off the land, can be intercepted by those plants. The lake has, in the summertime, gotten a lot more green. So it has like large algal blooms, they're called. It's algae growing. It looks almost like pea soup, like really, really green. And that kind of growth of algae you don't want to have because when it rots, it ends up usually consuming a lot of oxygen, and that can mean that the fish don't have that nice habitat that they need. And we have been doing some measurements of those nutrients entering the lake as well.
And I think it's important that people maintain their confidence in the quality of traditional food. Community members donate a part of their harvest. Medicines, berries, fish, moose, duck, rabbits, chickens. And we look at them for contamination, and we can track that through time. Traditional food is super healthy. If you compare some of like the vitamins and fat in moose to something like pork.
We gotta put things aside and let's improve our lake. Let's try to better our lake and fix that before it gets worse. If we fix that, and when we have something to say, maybe everything will change.
It helps very much to get everyone involved and working together with the same goals in mind. So that means any communities around the lake, any industry operating in the watershed, some agriculture, and the community itself. Small goals that are doable at first that can help build relationships and then start to think about, maybe some of the tougher decisions that have to be made.
A long time ago, everybody had a responsibility. Even the young ones had a responsibility. The old ones had a responsibility. Nobody was left out. And it was all about what you brought to the table that mattered. Industry is here. We can't get around that. But what happens during that time, we can have a voice to say. And that's what we have to choose to do. And say, how can we minimize the impacts on the land? Somebody has to be there to say, this is why we need to protect the land. This is why we need to protect the waters. Let's come together. Let's work together. And that's that understanding, Wahkohtowin.